Basically.
Yeah.
All right. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Drivers, start your engines!
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Remember what I told all my drivers? Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time! Drivers, start your engines!
And gentlemen, start your engine!
And welcome back to the Green White Checker Podcast. I am Andrew. I'm joined with Zach, Austin, and Joe. NASCAR returned to the Indy Oval this week, thank God. And trucks are at IRP, so we got a little bit of everything to talk about here. Let's just jump into Indy. Kyle Larson gets handed a win by NASCAR, in my opinion. Let's see if everybody else thinks the same. Zach, how do you feel about the race this weekend?
There's a lot of good racing. ARCA was pretty good. Was it Zawalich and Zilich and Sawalich? I always can't say them. In ARCA.
One of them.
Them two guys were racing hard in ARCA. That was good. The truck race on Friday was pretty good. Saturday, the Xfinity race was really good, despite what I thought it might have been. I thought it was going to really suck because they were running the super speedway engine, but turned out to be okay. And then the Cup race, which is by far the worst race all weekend. But it was exactly what I expected it to be. You know, this car can't handle dirty air, and Indy is just a single lane track. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what we expect to happen. I didn't expect much. There was the one good thing about track position races, which Indy is you get a lot of strategy. So that was kind of cool. Like everybody was doing all different kinds of stuff on strategy. So that was kind of interesting to watch. But as far as like on track stuff, it was pretty much what I expected it to be, I guess. But regardless, even if it's the worst race of the year, if we're going to be at Indy, we got to be on the Oval.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that it was still selected better than the road course, I guess. At least, at least like the total product for the whole weekend was better than the road course, like Xfinity and everything included. I was finally able to catch some of the Xfinity race for what feels like the first time this season, and was great. So I still feel like the Oval is the right choice here, but I was hoping for a little bit more. Just curious how this car was going to do on the Oval. So I know we had really turned against the Oval with the Gen 6, so I was hoping for a little bit of retribution for it, but yeah, not a whole lot. Again, not an Indy problem as we saw with the rest of the racing this weekend. It's a next gen 7 whatever problem that just hopefully we figure it out someday.
Yeah, not too much. It's again what we expected with this next gen car. And I think it was NASCAR. They posted a photo from turn 4 looking to turn 1. And it was just, they're like, oh, this is so cool. And it's just literally just a straight line of all 40 cars. I'm like, yeah. I know it's a single lane track but it's just like a single lane train. And then every now and then someone's going to get a draft and pull out and go around. So
it's so weird though. Cause like Indy cars, I mean, you can't argue fun. Those. Yeah, they're so fun and you can't argue those aren't air dependent and those probably don't get out of shape in dirty air, So what makes that so much better? Maybe it's they can actually run a couple different lanes. Maybe it's that they have a little bit more top end speed in the draft, so it makes passing a little bit. It's almost like a DRS, if you like, you know what I mean? Like they get that straight line speed, so you get a little more weaving on the straights and a little bit more like games played there. I guess it makes it so entertaining. But I don't know. Like it's weird that the air dependency doesn't hurt the Indy product. It just seems to hurt this car with a NASCAR product.
They can get a better run, I feel like, in Indy. They can actually make a pass on the straightaways. I feel we get just lagged out. Yeah,
that's what I think it is probably.
I think it's got to do with a lot of things. If you're talking IndyCar versus NASCAR, one, I think the draft is more impactful for the IndyCar than it is for our car. They're able to stay closer through the middle of the corner. And, they even though it's a 1-lane track, their IndyCar is a little bit better at getting a lane and a half, maybe even 2 lanes. Like they can kind of take different lines to the corner where we are just like, you have to take the one line.
Right.
Because our cars are, they're twice as heavy and they make like the same horsepower and all that stuff. So they can't get the run. Like that's the big problem you see for our cars is they would get a draft, but it's like we don't have, whether it be not enough drag, not enough power, whatever. It just takes the entire straightaway to actually get to the car you're chasing. And then you got a corner and you get dirty air and you get washed out and you have to do it all over again. The Indy car and even the Xfinity car, like they were able to get like these big runs coming out of the corner. I think the Xfinity car excelled because it does so well in the dirty air. So you don't lose all that ground mid corner. You can stay there and then get a run on the straightaway that actually results in a pass.
Right.
Where our cars, I mean, you see it all the time. Like you start chasing somebody down, you get stuck, half a second back, and that's about all you can do. I mean, I think, what was it, the end of stage 1, Denny won, and Kyle Larson was chasing him. I think Kyle Larson was easily faster, but I think he just got stuck. So, it's a combination of a bunch of stuff. The car doesn't make enough power. The drag isn't there for the draft. They can't stay close enough together in the corners, and all that kind of stuff just leads to not much passing.
Yeah, we see it in the Xfinity series all the time. At least they can get to the rear bumper, the guy in front of them. And I mean, we saw it on the last couple of laps this week where, guys were getting the guy in front of them loose, and we can't do that with the air. It's the other way around. You get the guy behind you tight.
Yep.
So it's just aero problems. I mean, we've gone over it over and over again. I think they need to lower the bumper again and just, I don't know, change some of the
which bumper, front bumper or rear bumper?
Rear.
They got to raise that up. They got to get rid of that damn diffuser. The things are sucked to the ground.
Well, yeah, you're right. I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, they need to raise it up. That's right. They need to get rid of the diffuser. It's the underbody is the problem, but also when you get close, with the old one where you could actually like get up under the bumper with the front bumper,
right,
and get that air to push up on the rear, take some of the
well, even the Gen
off.
Even the Gen 6 would struggle because that thing, like I put the thing on Twitter once that showed like a side shot of the Gen 4, 5, 6, and 7. It was a side shot of all of them kind of one on top of the other. And you can just see how with each generation of car, the back end gets lower and lower to the ground and the car gets more and more sealed off.
Right.
And it's like with each new generation, we complain more and more about dirty air. And I'm just convinced that we're just sealing these things to the ground. And I don't know how it affects the wake, but it's doing something that it affects the chasing car more and more. And now we're to the point where like there's almost no overbody downforce. It's all underbody. I mean, I'm not saying there's none overbody, but it's not much. Really, you can't, like, I don't even remember the last time we saw somebody pack air on a spoiler in this thing. I don't think you can do it.
I don't think you can either.
I have yet to see it. So, and that's something I think Denny's complained about before. I think I heard a couple others is like, there's no offensive tools for the guy chasing. It's all defensive tools for the guy leading. So that's just what makes it very, very difficult. And the only time we see this car be really good is when, you go to your Kansas or Vegas or whatever, a track with big multiple grooves that are both very fast and you can get away from that wake.
Yep. Multiple lanes, and obviously Pocono, Indy, both those are not.
Nope. So,
yeah, it's an issue. I mean, there's some racing in the back, but it's the same thing we see every week where, the first couple of cars really suffer from the aero tight, and then everybody else is really suffering the same. So you can get some passing, but I don't know. Larson came from 20th or something like that on the last run, but everybody was saving fuel.
They're all running 50%. Of course you're passing.
Yeah, I saw somebody saying he was going to win it no matter what, even without the caution there at the end. It was just like, no, that's not true at all.
No, as soon as Blaney decides to go, he's not getting by Larson.
Yeah. Yep.
Or Larson's not getting by Blaney. I mean,
getting by Blaney, yeah. I mean, Brad might have had enough to finish it if there wasn't a caution there, but who knows?
Yeah.
I guess we'll hop back earlier in the race. Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski get a blend line penalty exiting pit road under green.
Ooh.
I mean, NASCAR sent out an email saying you cannot do this, and then
It
both
was
of them just
more
drive up
vague. It
on
was
the
more
track.
vague than that.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is like I multiple guys said like they sent out the email. I said this is what's allowed. And now they're saying it's not allowed. So I like from what they were saying on the broadcast, it seemed pretty straightforward. Do not enter the racing surface, which I don't know if they thought that meant racing line, and that's where the confusion was because technically, I mean, no one's running that part of the
There,
short
yeah.
shoot. So like maybe that's the confusion. Like, well, what's it on the racing line? So it's not the racing surface, but like. So maybe just more clarification or like diagrams is like, hey, this is considered the racing surface. But I mean, that my thing is if there's a common denominator where two guys in a row back to back are confused on the same thing, and I'm sure potentially more would have been had those guys not gotten penalized for it, that quickly, like with been an after race penalty or something. I'm sure they would have seen there. I'm not sure, but maybe they would have seen more. But like that's my thing is if multiple guys are having the same issue, like where's at some point it's a breakdown in communication.
Yeah.
Okay,
NASCAR is
so-
known for their elite communication.
Well,
Here's what the rule says. Vehicles must use an acceleration lane through the exit of turn 2. Check your mirrors and come to the racetrack. You may swing wide beyond the white line on the acceleration lane.
which one? There's two.
between
Yeah,
turns
there's 3.
1 and 2.
There's 3, isn't there?
There's 2.
There's
So
2 that would be
you
in
have
play.
the original line, and then you have another line before the track.
Yep.
So the gray area is you can pass the
white
one
line?
beyond the acceleration lane
Yeah.
and not the one going to the racetrack.
But that's not what the rule says. It says you can go over the line and that's it.
The one line. It doesn't say you can go over both lines.
Wait, read that part again about going over the line. Like read that. in
You may
its entirety.
swing wide beyond the white line of the acceleration lane between turns 1 and 2. Stay off the racing surface.
Right.
Here's my
Pretty-
problem.
Pretty
Here's my
cut and
problem.
dry to me.
Not really, because here's the thing. Where do we have out of bounds in NASCAR? Where is there an actual out of bounds off of racing surface?
Talladega,
Daytona, and maybe Atlanta now that it's a super speedway.
Yeah.
And they tell us all the time when they go to Las Vegas and they cut the apron. Oh, that's part of the track. They're racing down, that white line isn't out of bounds. So there's murky water. There's murky precedent already set. Where is the racing surface in NASCAR? Because we change it. We don't stick to the track. You know what I mean? There's plenty of places where they go and they cut the apron, they cut dog legs and do all this. Hell, Phoenix is the championship race because they literally cut a third of the track off.
Yep.
So the racing surface isn't a great, definition for me in NASCAR because what is that? We race all over the place. So
yeah.
there's literally a line there. Say don't go over the second white line and be done with it.
Yeah, I don't know why they
but-
don't say that. To be honest, like I understand. Like I definitely agree. It's kind of murky. You say you can cross the white line without just saying like you can cross the first white line. Like you
Right.
like why
There's
not
two.
just add? Yeah,
Do not
So
cross the second white line. Done.
but at the same time, do not enter the racing surface again. Like I guess you're saying, like there's some gray water there, or I don't know though. But like to me, it's still like I don't know. Like yeah, see there we go. Okay, there's 2. Yeah, like to me, that's racing surface. For those of you listening, there's a graphic of that where the penalty was given. Short shoot between 1 and 2, 2 lines. To me, you can cross the white line. Like yeah, it's murky, but to me. I mean,
So
I don't
in
know.
the image
It's-
that we're showing, Kyle Larson is in between the white lines. He's good.
Mhm.
He does go out and touch the
he
far
touches the
white line, but he doesn't go over it at all. Whereas Chase Elliott's way beyond it. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
I
so-
understand what they wanted
Like
to say
all
with the
4.
rule. They wanted to say what Kyle Larson's doing is okay, what Chase Elliott's doing is not. My problem is with their wording and with what they're
For sure.
using to define it. Like saying stay off the racing surface. Again, there's a dozen tracks we go to where we don't stay on the racing surface, and that's part of where we race. Like
Wait, we
again,
don't stay on the what?
The racing surface.
Right. So there is a determined racing surface.
Apparently, it's just all the track except for the pits, from what I understand.
But you just said they're going off the racing surface.
They're going
Which
off
means that
of
there is
what,
a determined racing surface, which means that it's the track itself, not the short.
but
not the
NASCAR
cut
has made
on
it
that
clear
feed.
that they don't have a specific racing surface. That's what I mean. Like what I'm saying is they go off of what you would think is the racing surface.
But you
look
did
at a
say that in the
racetrack,
context of the broadcast saying the racing surface goes all the way down.
you look at
So
a
if somebody
racetrack,
blows a tire in turn 1 and they stop their car underneath that white line, where are they at? Are they off the racing surface?
Oh, so off the racing.
So the off the racing surface.
Would NASCAR throw a caution?
No.
Yes.
Well,
it
hold on.
depends.
Who's leading? Who's
If
leading?
Kyle Larson's leading with 2 laps to go in the Brickyard 400.
We'll get to that.
We're gonna wait.
We'll get to that.
But if somebody blows a tire and they're on the apron, NASCAR would throw a caution. You know it. They have done it.
Well,
They've
yeah,
thrown a caution for somebody rubbing the wall.
they've thrown it for
All-Star
somebody
race
just getting
2022.
sideways.
So what I'm saying is, again, it's just a consistency thing. Like you look at a track, you see the white line going. Every track has a white line going around the bottom, right where the banking transition stops. You would think that is the racing surface above that white line. However, there's a bunch of tracks where we use the area below those lines,
But
as
that's
the racing surface.
I mean, we race on it, but I think they'd still call it off. Like Phoenix pit exit stays under the apron because it's off the racing surface.
Yeah, but there's points where you could hit somebody coming out of pit exit in Phoenix while you're cutting. They almost hit that pit
because
exit
they're
wall.
going off the technical racing surface. They're going onto the apron. The
So-
only reason, like they do that at Auto Club, or they do that at like you're talking about, they go below the white, or where were they doing it recently where
New
it was raining?
Hampshire.
Yeah, New Hampshire.
Yeah, they're on the apron.
Like right, they're on the apron. They're off the racing surface. NASCAR doesn't really hold to track limits. At Watkins Glen, turn 1, they go off the racing surface. But
well, then
it's
if you
still
don't have
it's still
track limits,
they're racing right. They're racing off of the racing surface, but there's still a determined racing surface. Like there's still like the track. Now, like NASCAR again, NASCAR doesn't really do strict track limits penalties, which we all appreciate. I think we all agree on that. We all are fine without people getting penalized for being a little generous with a racing surface. But that's the point, is there's still there, regardless, there's still a determined racing surface. And so to me, them saying racing surface, regardless of where people are actually racing, it's still a clear-cut thing. Like if somehow at Indy people were cutting below that line on the short shoot, it would still be, hey, that's the racing surface. You're going below the racing surface. So I agree it's confusing. And like I said at the beginning, multiple people had the same confusion. So clearly there was a breakdown somewhere in communication on NASCAR's end. And I think they could have made it very simple by adding simply the word first white line, and first in front of white line. That would have made things way clearer.
Yep.
But still, by them saying do not enter the racing surface, to me that's still kind of cut and dry. Do not cross that second white line onto the actual racetrack. But I mean, I get your point, Zach, at the same time, but like end of the day, I think it's still clear that
I mean, I
what the
understand
racing
that there
surface
is
and what's not.
I'm not saying I am confused of what a racing surface is.
No, I know. Yeah.
It's just it's this inconsistency we have in how things are used. You could argue that we use non-racing surfaces as racing surface all the time. It's just the wording of it's just stupid, is what I'm getting at.
I'll
And
tell you.
Someone mentioned New Hampshire.
it's just like needlessly wordy and complicated. Like just
Yeah.
say you can't cross the second white
Yeah.
line.
I was gonna
Next
say-
year it will be yellow. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah, double.
The
yellow,
color of the
double
line
white.
doesn't matter. That's so. There's 2 white lines. Don't cross it. Don't cross the second one. Be done
I
with
was
it.
gonna say, because remember New Hampshire, during the rain part, they were all running over the commitment square, coming off of turn 4. It's like, well, obviously pit road's not the racing surface, but they're running over it, and NASCAR's like, yeah, go ahead,
Right.
boys.
Yeah.
I think it's hard too, because in previous years you've been able to use whatever you want coming out of pit road, right? Like this
I
is a
think-
new rule.
The commitment square is only relevant if you're actually pitting, is it not?
It probably is, but I don't know. I just found it interesting. Like they're
Yeah.
cutting onto pit road, not a ton, but you're cutting onto pit road, and they're like, yeah, all right, boys, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause then
I wonder too if that same confusion, I think especially if you go into it with this preconceived idea of what you've done years prior when you've run the oval, and that's you could go as far as you want on the short shoot all the way out, if I remember correctly. So you guys were doing like Chase Elliott did and use that. So you already have that idea in, and then you see this email come out and it says just don't cross, or like you can cross the white line. You're like, all right, cool. Like I can do whatever. Don't injure the racing surface. They probably, they said that we could cross the line though, so they probably just mean the racing line. Like we probably stayed, far down on the short shoot, be fine. So I mean, I get it. Like again, like I think the wording could have been definitely better in that email, but at the same time, it's like maybe use some critical thinking skills. Maybe even asking the drivers meeting if it's that not clear. Like they can ask questions in those drivers meetings. So why not be like, hey, a little confused on this. Says you can cross the white line. Doesn't say. And it's doesn't say which one is it, and then boom, you're done. But
do they still do the proper drivers meeting where everybody shows up? I thought for some reason I thought
yeah,
they
do.
Like,
but I think I want to say it's just really crew chiefs that go anymore.
When I went, I've been to a drivers meeting, so I can speak on this. When I went, all the drivers were there. But that was 2016 or something, 2017. So
yeah, I feel like it's like a post-COVID thing. Like I know during COVID they were doing like it wasn't like there was so much there.
Video calls,
video call things.
Right.
I didn't know if they were still doing that or if they actually. Then again, I did see a picture of Kyle Busch and Larson and Bubba all sitting in a room, which I presume to be the.
I think
so
they say, yeah, I think it's like an open invitation for the crew chief driver, and I think usually it's just crew chief goes, but who knows? We would know if you guys would like follow, subscribe, and it would get us the opportunity to
Thumbs
go
up.
to races and get credentials. Hopefully Michigan. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. Should be hearing any day about that one. But yeah, hit that like, thumbs up, subscribe. Everything helps out. We're on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. We're everywhere. Just look us up, the GWC Pod. All right, back to this race. Obviously, we had that whole exiting pit stuff going on there, but we had pit stop strategies the whole race. Everybody was kind of on a different strategy, it felt like. I missed the first 20 laps of this race, I think. Came back. Kyle Busch is leading. I was like, holy shit, what's going on? And then a minute later, he's off the board. I don't know where he's at. And that's pretty much him for the season. Sorry, Zach.
I mean, he was only out front because of pit strategy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he was running top 5 until we fucking wrecked. But,
yeah. But, so Brad ends up at the end of the race leading it with, a couple laps to go. He's got 6 laps less fuel, I believe, than everybody else. Then you had Blaney, who was close. And then there was, a couple guys coming with Reddick and Larson, obviously. Hamlin was close on gas. A bunch of other guys close on gas. We're all kind of getting excited. Are they going to make it? Are they not? And then we get this wreck at the end, which Zach just kind of alluded to. Yeah. Throws everything out the window, right? So we get some guys come pit, some that don't. That's when Hamlin pit, I believe. They said they cannot make it, which, I don't know. I think that's a good call. Unlike Brad Keselowski, who stays out, is going to just go for it no matter what. And
I don't think it was, though, because Hamlin was on the same fuel strategy as Blaney. So how did Blaney make it and Hamlin didn't?
Hamlin, they said they didn't think they could make it. So they pit, and hopefully they were hoping for a caution. Didn't work out because they were the caution, but they were just hoping for another caution. Everybody else would pit. They gain all the spots back. They'd be up close to the front again type deal. They're going to jump everybody. It didn't work out, right?
Nope. Especially because there was a red flag to help save everybody fuel.
Yeah. Which, I mean,
bullshit.
I'm okay with.
What? Yeah, because Reddick finished second.
He was going to finish second anyways.
No,
well, I shouldn't say that. If it stays green the whole race, then no, he won't. But Reddick was flying.
Let him run out. I disagree.
When we went back racing after, who was it? Reddick, Larson, Chase Elliott, a couple other guys had pit for gas. Reddick was leading that group. He had passed Larson. I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And then I think he got stuck behind who's in the 71?
Smith.
Zane.
Yeah, Zane. Got stuck behind Zane. Larson passed him with a pretty dive bomb move, which was what Larson was doing all weekend. Yeah, and that was pretty much what ended up costing him the race. I think he could have had it if NASCAR didn't pull their bullshit. But so for those that don't know what happened, so we're going to go green. Brad chooses the inside line. Blaney picks the outside because he knows Brad's low on gas, probably going to run out, probably accelerating, right? Well, Brad runs out, coming to the green, pulls the pit road. Larson and the whole bottom line moves up, basically giving Larson the lead.
Yeah.
Larson just soars into turn one, takes the lead. That's all she wrote. But I want to ask, do you guys think Larson jumped the start?
I need to go back and look at it. I didn't even realize it until actually our new VP in our office. He's a NASCAR fan, so we talk about the races, and he's like, I feel like Larson jumped. He's a Blaney fan too, for the record. So, but he was like, he told me he's like, I feel like Larson jumped that start. I'm like, oh, I need to go back and watch that. So I need to find a clip real quick. And
I have it posted on our thing.
Yeah, I also
on our show sheet.
posted.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, perfect. All right.
According to Denny, who looked at the SMT data, Larson did not launch early.
He said they launched at the exact same time. And Larson had a 2 mile an hour. Well, more
He was
than
rolling faster.
Blaney. Yeah, rolling faster. So in my mind, he's jumping the start. He's not the control car, right? So first of all, he's going faster and he goes at the same time. Like the same time things.
It doesn't even look like he's
cool.
rolling faster though in this clip. Like it looks like they are squared up. Like squared up.
Which one did you post? The in-car of Blaney's I posted. I don't know. It looks like Larson jumped from that.
I mean, based on if Denny looked at the SMT, like that's reliable. You know what I mean? Like more reliable than us just watching the replay. I guess like maybe, I mean, Blaney's low on fuel. Maybe there's like a sputter, or maybe there was like something, the fuel wasn't burning as hot, so he didn't get as like fast as a jump or quick of a jump. You know what I mean? Maybe they hit the gas at the same time, and since Larson had more fuel, it just I'm not a car expert, of course, but I don't know. Maybe that's something to do with it. But I mean, if Denny's saying he looked at the SMT and they're the same, I feel like that's kind of more reliable than us speculating watching the replay.
Yeah. I don't think it matters if he did or didn't. It's that bottom lane. We just said it. It's a single lane track. I don't think Blaney's going to be able to hold it up there. Not only is he got, less fuel, he's got older tires. So
Right.
It's, I don't know. They handed it to Larson there, I feel like.
Could they have thrown the caution when Brad pulled off?
I don't extend it. I don't.
Just
My
like
thing is
one more.
Wouldn't
lap.
it be easier just to say that you can't pull up to the front row?
I wouldn't mind that. Just stay.
Leave it empty.
Stay
Yeah.
in position. Yeah.
Like everything else, fine. Yeah, close it up. I get that. But I feel like you can't hand the lead to somebody else, especially after you choose, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like. Yeah. I think stay in your spot and.
I think I had a couple thoughts of this. I think you either do that, or what you could do is if you did roll one more lap. I don't like the idea of choosing again because now everybody's in different spots than they originally were when they first chose, and that'd be a whole mess. I think what you do is you either do what you just said, Andrew, or whoever's in that row that had somebody drop out. In this case, Blaney.
They get to choose.
He gets to pick what lane he wants. The open lane then moves up.
If you watch it, when Brad pulls off, Blaney started to go left, and then Larson floored it and got there. So, I mean, Blaney knew what was going on. He was screwed. It's just, I don't know. I honestly don't see NASCAR changing anything because it worked out for him.
Oh no, I kind of don't want them to change anything. They're in a habit of making everything super fucking complicated right now. So, just hold on. I don't like it, but whatever.
I don't know. Front row, don't move up. Boom, done. It's over.
Yeah.
Or you let the leader decide, or whoever's on the front row decide, and then that lane can move up after to where it would have been, and I think Reddick or whoever was behind Blaney there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, now it would all be one quick movement. Like, oh, Blaney, choose your lane quick. And then open lane, move up one.
Yep. But then we get a giant wreck going into turn one, which, man, John Hunter hit a ton. Like, he hit the inside wall hard. He then got spun around and hit the driver's side on the turn one wall, outside wall. Glad to see him get out pretty quick, but massive wreck, red flag, and I don't know. It was over in my mind there. We go green again, and Reddick instantly gets up to second. I said to the old lady, I was like, "Oh, I need a quick caution." And Briscoe spins out of 2, and I was like, "Hell yeah!" He goes down, hits
Priest, wasn't it?
Priest. I said Briscoe.
Priest, yeah.
Priest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might as well say Cole Custer Jr. But he goes down, hits the wall just a little bit. It's like, hell yeah, here comes the caution.
Nope.
It's coming, I swear.
No, it's not. I promise.
They show him spinning the tires and start moving a little bit. I'm like, damn it, they're not going to do it. And then he stopped again. I was like, he can't move. He's stuck. They're going to throw before he crosses the white flag. Nope. We're just going to continue and throw a caution after Larson takes the white flag to give him the win.
Woo.
What a just anticlimactic finish.
No, that was so weird.
I think Reddick had something for him. I think Reddick had a very fast car. Yes, I'm a Reddick fan, but he was gaining on him on that last lap. So you can't tell me that Larson was just going to walk away from it. Saw a bunch of people saying that, oh yeah, Blaney wouldn't have caught Larson anyways. It wasn't Blaney racing him at that point. It was Reddick. So, I don't know. That's Reddick's season in a nutshell there. Just there at the end, but can't finish.
Yeah.
But,
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else's thoughts on the finish there?
It's another stinker of a crown jewel finish. So hopefully Darlington's got something better for us because they usually do, but as long as rain's not involved, NASCAR and rain, as long as it's not humid, which it's humid in South Carolina in September. So
How many crown jewels does NASCAR have?
4.
You would not consider Bristol Night Race a crown jewel?
4.5.
I consider it over Indy at this point, but I don't know. Maybe 5.
I just keep thinking about that every time somebody says NASCAR has 4 crown jewels.
Okay, hold on.
I feel like Bristol Night should be one.
Daytona,
Charlotte.
Coke,
Charlotte, Indy,
Darlington.
Darlington. Okay, I would say 5.
Bristol Night. I'd say 5.
I feel
Especially
like
whenever Bristol Nights, if you're talking to a new NASCAR fan, it's like, I think Junior said this, but like if there's one race you're going to take him to, it's probably going to be Bristol Night because that's just like the spectacles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
When we have a good short
6.
track car.
6.
Yeah.
Well, 7. Kansas and Kansas.
True.
I do have a thought on the ending. I've seen a lot of people talk about, here's my thing. So this weekend, you know how like people with iPhones, you know how you can set up the different like focus modes. So you can do like fully do not disturb where all notifications are silenced. You can do like personal or work where it's only like your work notifications go through or whatever. Well, I set one up this weekend that was, I just call it like sick of notifications, where basically I have everything muted except for texts and calls. So I'm just like Discord gets muted, like, all social medias get muted, whatever. Well, I'm watching this ending and I see, whoever hit the wall and they're trying to get it going. And I'm like, oh, like, I was totally fine with the finish. I had no issues with it. I was like, yeah, it's happened before. It's a big track to try and see if he gets going. If he doesn't get going by the time they get around to him, they'll throw the caution. Like that to me was totally normal. Come to find out, after the race, I go back and open up Discord, Twitter, whatever, and everyone's
You are wrong.
Yeah, everyone's up in arms, like this is rigged. Like they waited till Larson took the check, took the white to throw the caution, so he would get the win. Like this is horrible. This has never happened before. And I'm like, whoa! I'm like, whoa, what? I'm like, I thought this was fine. I thought this was precedent. I think this is kind of what they do on these kind of tracks. And so I don't know. Like I think that it was kind of eye-opening to me, and I've thought about this before. I'm like, how often is my opinion on a race or anything swayed by the public opinion on that? And so I'm not saying everyone who has that opinion has been swayed. I'm not trying to be like, well, I wasn't on social media, so I actually know better than everybody. I'm actually better than everybody for not being on social media.
Pretentious sounding.
All on your Twitters and whatever. I like to form my own opinion on things.
I was busy forming my own opinion.
But to be real, it's like, like what had I, this is speaking on my sway ability, like had I been on Discord and Twitter and everything while that was happening, I probably would have had the same opinion. I would have been like, oh yeah, this is totally rigged. I can't believe NASCAR waited through that caution. But I'm sitting there just like absorbing the race and not till like after it happens. So I pull everything up. So I don't know. Like I saw the clip from Junior's podcast where someone posted it in Discord and they were, like, of course, Junior has his opinion, but they were bringing up these Junior was like, I thought it was fine. I had no problem with that finish. And then people were bringing up the examples of, or they like, oh, Nashville, this guy spun off the track. They called a caution and they did it again. I'm like, well, Nashville's what, a mile and a half? Then they brought up Kansas too. Same thing happened. Like someone spun, didn't hit anybody, but threw the caution during overtime. I'm like, that's also a mile and a half. Like Indy's a massive track. Like, they plenty, lots more time for someone to get rolling and get going than out of Nashville or Kansas. So like, yeah, they have time to wait and see if he's going to get going. He's kind of off the racing surface. Sorry to bring up a trigger word for you, Zach, but off the racing surface. So I don't know. I was like, all right. I mean, then he went to try to get rolling. He rolled on the racing surface, whatever. But I don't know. Like that's my thought is I didn't have an issue with it. I wonder how many people wouldn't have an issue with it had they not been just seeing what everyone was tweeting or whatever at that time. But I feel like now people are really up in arms about it, partially because everyone is up in arms about it. You know what I mean?
When NASCAR lets it go, though, where is that guy spun out? Because I can think of a couple of times where it was in like turn 4, right? To where they can pretty much get that full lap in and then throw it where you know what's going to happen. I don't feel like that's the case here. You had 3/4 of a lap to throw a caution, half a lap that you knew he wasn't going to get going, and yet he's, we're going to call the race in turn 1. So why not just throw the caution then? Because I don't know. Obviously, Indy's really big, but if you're going to throw in the first turn, what's the point?
Right.
I don't get that. And
The
other thing is, this is the first week that NASCAR has a freaking switch to raise a car up if they have a flat tire so they can get rolling again. Yeah. This was the first week they used it.
I didn't know they actually had those yet.
Yep. And so I'm guessing they did this to Priest's car to even help it a little bit. It didn't. Throw the fucking caution. I don't know. I want to see a good finish. That's, I guess, it.
Yeah, I mean, I do too.
And I think it's a combination too of the whole Blaney losing this on the restart and then Larson kind of getting this free lap, right?
There's definitely a lot of things that played into Larson's favor. It's just the whole thing is just weird. Like it goes back to what we always talk about, consistency. Like I've seen NASCAR throw a caution because somebody got sideways, and here you actually had like a full wreck and they don't. So it's just like, well, what are we doing? What is and what isn't a caution? If this happens on lap 5, is this a caution right away? I feel like probably.
Yeah. But also it's not the end of the race. We haven't just had 5 cautions. We haven't just had a red flag where we sat there doing nothing for 15 minutes. I think that probably plays a factor too, where they're like, well, let's do everything we can to see if he's going to get rolling rather than throwing a caution and having yet another overtime. And who else was on Larson's strategy there? Who else had that much fuel left? Was it the next Reddick?
Yep. Second place.
Yeah. So I guess that's fair. I mean, like my thought was, well, now it doesn't matter anyway, because everyone's pitting at that point. If you're throwing a caution, like Blaney's not making it. No one else on that strategy is making it at that point. So everyone's going to pit and then Larson gets the win anyway. But I guess if Reddick was right there on the same strategy, I can't remember if that was him or someone else. I mean, obviously it's not really a point anymore, but I don't know. Like, I think that probably plays a factor in it too. Like, again, I still don't really have a huge issue with the finish. Like, I get everyone's points on it, but people saying it's rigged or whatever. Like, I feel like I've seen NASCAR do the same stuff a lot where they, on big tracks, they wait to see if the guy gets rolling before they throw the caution. And they wait until they're rounding the corner to the guy to throw the caution. I don't know. Like I still don't have a huge problem with it, but I know people.
I'm going to say this. If you go into a race and Rick Hendrick has any special event, if he's the Grand Marshal this week?
Yeah.
And then Kyle Larson has a special Indy paint scheme, I bet the fuck out of Kyle Larson winning. And if you didn't, the writing was on the wall. It was going to happen.
I told you as soon as I saw that pace scheme, like, oh, he's winning.
Yeah. I think I posted the Hendrick thing. I was like, oh, betting him this week.
Mhm.
So I don't know. They're in the entertainment business, and I'm just gonna say
That's
that.
it. Kyle Larson, NASCAR's new favorite driver or most popular driver.
Yeah,
It's coming, Joe. Have you prepared?
No.
Are you ready?
I will say that I listened to the teardown, and
Correct.
Jeff Gluck said, "What is NASCAR supposed to do in that situation? Throw the caution. Pretty easy." He basically said, "There's nothing else they could have done. 100% could have thrown a caution." But I said they got soft. Zach, do you think they're getting soft?
I don't know. I think they have some business ties now. They're with Sirius XM and NASCAR radio and all that stuff. So, I'm sure they have to go about things a little bit differently.
Yep. All right. Well, that tightens up the playoff picture quite a bit. Bubba has closed it within 7 points on Ross Chastain. Chris Buescher is only 17 points ahead now. So close it up pretty quick. I mean, even Ty Gibbs at 42 up. I mean, it's getting pretty close. We've seen Bubba close that in 2 weeks. So
yeah, we got a cut line battle again. So it's exciting.
I thought Bubba had a good shot to win this week, and I was like, oh, it's going to throw everything off. But no.
He's doing what Kyle Busch needs to do and just get good finishes. Like, quit overdriving it, quit pushing. And I know Kyle's not going to point his way in at this point. Like, he is winning in, but like, just to go on a little side tangent as a Kyle Busch fan, like they just for the sake of building momentum, like you just got to start getting good finishes. Just get that top 10. He was going to get a top 5, even because he was running 6th. He was trying to pass Denny for 5th, but Brad was still going to run out at that point. So right there.
Sorry, go ahead.
Huh? Just sometimes you gotta take the day. And I think even Denny, Denny's got to race this smarter because he was within 20 points of that of Larson or Chase or whoever's the championship. Long. Yeah, whoever's leading the regular season points.
Ooh, 43 back now.
Yeah, I mean,
they buy that.
Like, I know you're trying to get the Brickyard 400, but we've seen it time and time again. Winning that regular season championship matters. Like, I mean, it carried Martin Truex. Martin Truex didn't do jack shit last year in the playoffs. We were complaining about it because he wasn't doing anything, and he kept getting into the next round. He kept getting into the next round despite doing nothing. So it's like those points will carry you far. So I mean, at this point in the season, I'm points racing. Like, the hell with wins. I know we say how important wins are, but I'm chasing that championship.
It's like
it's
like with Jimmy.
I said,
Jack Knaus. Is that Jimmy's crew chief?
Yeah,
he was like at that Roval race where he spun out with Truex. Chad was like, I wish I would have just told him just to back off. Like, we could have point stand at that point. Now I know there's a playoff race, cutoff race, and everything. It's like, wish I would have told him just not worry about. Like, we would have been in had he not done that and he dropped some spots. Same thing. It's like, that's in defense of the playoff system. It's part of the strategy. It's like, do you gun it for that win and give it your all and try to go for wins every race and run some risky strategies to get wins? Do you play it safe and hope he points in, go for points and then do like Bubba's doing, just get good finishes and get points to try to points in? I don't know. Like, I think that's kind of fun. Like, different strategy options there. But anyway, like I think I agree. That's what Kyle needs to kind of focus on. But with him being 112 back right now, like, I understand.
I thought it was more.
That's what this graphic we have on the show sheet says. 112.
I thought it was like 150 back. Oh, it's not as bad as I thought.
All right, we're good. Yeah. Also, side note, Todd Gill and
20th.
Now 21st. That's shocking to me. I guess Michael has had some wreck outs. But anyway,
Todd's been running pretty good.
Todd's been running good too. But
with what Zach was saying, as far as championship points, being able to like take you to the Final Four, Chase Elliott and Tyler Reddick, man, they don't have championship points. They got Tyler Reddick's got 8, Chase is 6.
I'm rooting for both of them over Kyle Larson, because Kyle Larson's going to right now. If Kyle Larson gets 15 bonus points on top of his 20,
he's locked in.
He's locked.
Let's put him in the Final Four.
I mean, he's winning the championship. You can mark it now. He's my championship pick, hands down. It's the Hendrick 40th anniversary. He's getting it.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's just amazing to me that teams are, especially teams like a Denny Hamlin, like you have 3 wins this season. You have a good pool of playoff points. What does he have, like 20 something? He's like 3rd or 4th on the list. You need to start. If it's me, I'm points racing the hell out of every race.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm chasing that championship, because there's been a couple times where Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott, they both slipped up and they haven't been able to capitalize on it.
Well, Denny's thrown away 3 or 4 good finishes this year.
Yeah, it's like you can't do that.
No, like the Texas one was stupid. This week, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you try to stay in it. I get the reasoning for pitting, but I don't know.
This is the second time. This is the second time Gabehart's tried to pit him early, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm smarter than Chris Gabehart, but like they did this here, and they did this at Nashville. It's just like I don't think this super early pit strategy is really the way to go, because then on the back end you're just screwed if anything doesn't happen. And let's be honest, we do know NASCAR, and we do know they do like to throw a late race caution for anything.
Unless the Larson's leading.
But I'm just saying, like, the 30 to go window, like they like to start throwing cautions, and then who knows what happens from there. So I don't like putting yourself on that strategy. And then you look at Kyle Larson, who pits late, and he loses all his track position, but now all these assholes are driving 50% throttle, so he just drives to the field like nothing.
Yeah.
So I'd much rather be on Larson's side of things than having to like run 50%.
Yeah, I'm hoping Chase can retake the lead here, or Reddick. I mean, Reddick stayed 15 behind, but Chase lost the lead and is now 10 behind. So
yep, I'm rooting for Chase.
Chase or Reddick.
Or Reddick,
yeah. I mean, Reddick, if he gets those 15 points, he's past Denny Hamlin now in points. But yeah, with 8, you can't do anything.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I still don't like the playoffs, like the championship points thing. I don't like that carrying you all the way to the Final Four. I think that should give you points for the first round so you can clear that. But I think after that, you should lose those points.
Yeah. All right, let's jump to Xfinity. Riley Herbst gets his 2nd win. And holy crap, what a battle between him, Almirola, and Custer. They were just going back and forth the last 2 laps. They were sideways, 3 wide. Great racing, proving again the Xfinity car is the best car. Yeah. Didn't look like there was too many people on the front stretch. They had big
yeah, that was weird for the Xfinity.
Did you see that? Like,
yeah,
it was blocked off.
Giant banners.
You see it at
weird.
You see it at sporting events and like weird spots for like advertisements, but it wasn't for that. Like by the flag stand, there's an American flag, which is cool. But then it's just like big black areas. I don't know. It was weird to me.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard.
It's like I want the Brickyard to be packed like it was in the 90s, but I know that's never going to happen again.
I mean, that's just not realistic. And the problem with the Brickyard is it's like a 250,000 seating capacity.
Yeah. So
this goes back to what we talked about, about Bristol versus like a Phoenix. Bristol can only sell half its seats, but it's still more people than a Phoenix sellout. So, I mean, they're saying there's like 70, 80,000 people for the Cup race, which is good numbers, but like you just put that into that giant facility and it just looks like
it looked empty. Yeah. Crazy.
Well, I think, didn't they say that was the most they had there since like 2017 for a race there?
2017 or 2018, that's what I thought.
So like that's great. And build on that, but we got to get a not piece of crap car. Just switch cars. Give us the Xfinity car with 1,000 horsepower. Call it a day. It's not that hard.
They got to be working on changes on this car by now, right?
I would hope so. Here's a change to make. NASCAR, Steve Phelps, whoever is in charge. Xfinity car,
see a problem?
Probably not.
The first question is, do they see a problem? The second question is, if they do see a problem, do they blame themselves and the car for it? Right now, I don't think they do. I think they blame the tire. That's why they're leaning on Goodyear so much.
You're forgetting the point here. They love what they're seeing.
I mean,
so
Yeah, but the drivers are shitting all over the car. I think that's.
I think they gotta know there's a problem. I don't think that's the resident homer. I think they gotta know there's a problem. I think they gotta know it's not just the tire. I mean, they may publicly try to blame the tire to a degree, but also don't want to burn their relationship with Goodyear at the same time. So, but I don't know. Like, I think that they got. I mean, there's no way they see the product and think it's good. Like, I mean, I know they've said in the past about like what we're seeing, but I think that they have to know, they have to be working on something behind the scenes, or probably scrambling behind the scenes to try to figure out what the hell they're going to do about this car on short tracks and everything. But I don't know. Like, I don't think that they're that naive,
I just don't have any evidence of it, and I'm just not convinced of it.
I mean, they can't jump to everything. You know what I mean? Like, they're doing different tests. They're doing different. I mean, yeah, they're doing mainly tire tests, but like that's.
When's the last? I'm not being a smart ass asking this. When's the last time we did like an actual test?
You can be a smart ass. We're allowed.
They apparently just did a Bristol test.
I didn't want to sound like I was just being like.
No, you can be. I will. I've been a dick.
They're doing stuff. Jake. Well, why don't you tell me?
Tell me what exactly they're doing. Huh?
When's the last time they did a test on this car that you said
they're being fake news?
Yeah, give me exactly the breakdown for me.
But I'm trying to think of when the last time we actually did something, trying like a new component on the car or whatever. All they've been trying is like aero shit, which I don't think that's going to do.
I mean, it's cheaper for them to push to Goodyear, in my opinion. It's cheaper for them to push a Goodyear and have them try to fix something than try to change something fundamentally on the car and have to rework the car and do all this stuff, especially since they're, since it's all controlled by them now. So I don't know. I think it's a quicker fix, maybe more of a Band-Aid to get the tire fixed, get some more tire stuff worked out. But I don't know. I think the amount of movement that has to go to get an actual full-on car change. It's I guess
it's gonna be a tremendous cost. Anything you do.
Yeah, and I feel like it's maybe troubleshooting. It's like, all right, let's first check the tire. What if it is just the tire? Let's run some tire tests. Let's try some different compounds. Let's try running an option tire. Let's see if this makes things a little bit better. No, it didn't. Okay, well, let's move on to a slightly more expensive thing. Maybe it's
horsepower.
Maybe it's the spoiler. Maybe
horsepower ain't happening, Joe. I don't know how.
Horsepower. Yeah,
I know.
Horsepower's not happening to the hybrid. We've established that. But no, I know.
I don't even know if it's happening with that.
I know what you mean, though, Joe. But it's like, it's like, okay, let's move on to the spoiler. Maybe it's the spoiler's too big. Let's run a smaller spoiler. Still kind of shitty. Okay, let's move on to something else. And then, they're not going to jump to, all right, we have to change the entire underbody of the car and change the bumper and change the engine and like they're not going to jump to that. It's not a good business move, I guess, financially, especially I'm sure NASCAR's not necessarily swimming in cash at this point. So they got to move on what's cheapest, which is the tires first, and then move on to more of the car. But I think they're fully aware. They're just going through a troubleshooting process to try to figure out if there's a cheap fix before jumping to this really expensive options.
And I get that, but I feel like all these drivers are saying, hey, this is what we need. Do it. And like, I get you can't just snap your finger and make all these changes just like that. But like, I mean, they're working on tires. I'll give them that. But I mean, they've done a zillion tire tests. Like what are we?
They did a test not too long ago, and I can't remember the track, where they did run different engine packages with more horsepower.
But also, like, if the drivers are saying one thing, it doesn't mean they're right. Like,
that's true.
We need more horsepower. It's like, well, that is the most expensive option. So they're all saying this, but we're not going to do that yet.
It's not going to help you, though.
What do you mean?
More horsepower is not going to help you with aero tightness.
No, I know that's not the magic fix.
No, I know, but
a lot of aero too.
Yeah, but if all the drivers are saying, "Oh, it's the underbody," then again, that's probably a pretty expensive fix. It's even for the teams. Like, I'm sure the CFO of these teams are like, "Oh, no, it's not the underbody. It's not the underbody. Please don't be the underbody.
The underbody can be
have to
really
buy all
cheap
these new
fix.
parts.
Super cheap fix. Just don't put the fucking thing on.
Yeah,
true.
Super cheap.
It's true.
There you go.
Leave it off. I'm actually going to save you money. I'm going to save you money
point.
by this change.
But I don't know, I don't know. And again, like, who knows what? Maybe NASCAR has some kind of contract. Is Dallara the manufacturer? Or am I making that up?
Yeah, it is.
Maybe they have some kind of contract with Dallara where, hey, we're gonna buy, or we're gonna guarantee our teams are gonna buy at least X amount of diffusers from you. And so now, maybe there's some weird contractual stuff going on. I have no idea. Obviously, there's probably outs of all these contracts, but those are probably not cheap either. So again, I think NASCAR's aware. I think the reason they haven't done what we would presume, what even the drivers maybe presume is the best fix, because those are not the cheapest fixes. They're going to start with the option.
And I mean, I know we kind of joke and are serious about the Xfinity car, but I mean, I just looked it up, and I know Denny was tweeting with Landon Castle too about, because Denny he said recently, oh, it costs 18 mil to run a Cup car, costs 8 to run a high end Xfinity car. Like, it'd be so much cheaper. And yeah, obviously it saves team money. They can put that $10 million into other parts of their organization, right? Because there's all this, oh, that saves money, but they're just using it for different things, right? They're saving money on hotels by not going to the track all weekend, but they're just using that for social media. I don't know. These next gen cars cost $1 zillion. So run the Xfinity car at 1,000 horsepower, call it a day.
I don't think you need 1,000 horsepower.
No.
I think you need
10,000.
What's the Xfinity car
Run
make?
top fuel.
Yes, top fuel. Yes.
What's the Xfinity car make? They make 650.
I don't even know anymore.
I think 750 would be a great number for the Xfinity car.
Yeah,
650 is fine. Like it's the Xfinity car is just so well balanced. Like, and that's what like I try to not get on the horsepower train. I know everybody loves to say horsepower, but that isn't necessarily what you need. What you need is a great balance.
650 to 700.
Yeah.
So what you need in any car, any type of race car, is just the balance. You need the balance of power, grip, and aero, and all that stuff to be just right. And the Xfinity car is that. So I guess it's just, for me, it's frustrating that NASCAR didn't, sort of look at the Xfinity car and say, okay, we have a great package here. How can we sort of, I don't know, make it more difficult for Cup or whatever? How can we bring that up to Cup? Instead, they designed a freaking sports car, which is terrible.
Did they do that because they own IMSA also?
I don't know. I think part of it, they were leaning more into road courses. They're trying to go more that route. They're trying to go the route of, I don't know how much of it is really save the team's money, but at least single part suppliers. I guess that does narrow the gap of, the haves and the have-nots. It brings the teams closer together and all that stuff because they're all buying the same parts and pieces, not making stuff, whatever. But I don't know.
Well,
I still think you can do that and have a car that's like the Xfinity. Like, there's nothing that says you can't have a third-party producer, parts manufacturer making an Xfinity car, for example.
Yeah. Landon Castle says it doesn't cost $18 million, by the way.
To run a Cup car?
Yeah.
To run
you didn't
what
see that
kind
post?
of Cup car?
Yeah, he's trying to.
If it's Landon Castle, it's going to be a dead last place Cup
Starting
car
part.
that's 10
I mean, I'm
seconds
sure
off
you
pace.
you could run a Cup car for the cost of race fuel, but
yeah,
all 2 laps that you run it with.
Where do you want to finish? That those things matter. And I mean, I don't think Denny's just talking about the actual running cost, but there's engineering.
Here's
talk
what
about-
he
yeah,
says.
talk about
NASCAR is
transportation.
not making you hire 100 engineers. NASCAR is not making you rent private jets. NASCAR is not making you spend $250K on a pit box.
That's what Landon said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then I don't know.
Well, I think Denny,
true, but
Denny,
also you have sponsors entertained. You have you have team members to recruit.
Yeah.
You have
if you want to compete, you have to spend the money.
Yeah.
Landon never competed. So guess what?
he didn't spend the money.
Yeah.
like
Sure.
the NCAA's not
too.
making who had a huge, I feel like UT probably had a huge renovation recently of I hear all the time like, oh yeah, these college football teams put $100 million into revamping their locker room. And yeah, it's NCAA's not making them do that either. But if you're going to get anyone there, like you want cool facilities, and that's what Denny talked
Iowa
about.
just did theirs.
Yeah, that's what Denny talked about. Is I just did mine in college football 25. But for Ohio University. So, I don't know. It's like,
did you say Ohio University?
Ohio, whatever it is, not Ohio State. It's
Ohio. Oh, not Ohio State. Okay,
not Ohio State. Ohio University. That's where that's where my dynasty is, or that's not my road to glory is with Ohio State. I'm actually with, don't kill me, Joe, but UNC Concord. It's my dynasty team right now. So,
hey, you said the name right. I'll give
I got the name right. Don't worry. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Like, there's different aspects to it, and that's what Danny talked about as a reply is. You need good facilities,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can run it.
The money.
Right, you can run it cheaply. Do you want to run for race wins and championships, you're talking about a different bag
It's
of
in
money.
any sport, right?
Right.
You know, you have to have the best equipment usually to compete.
And that's
in
like,
racing, you have to have the best equipment.
I don't have a problem with that. Like, I don't have the problem with a Rick Hendrick or a Joe Gibbs. Like, if they're investing that kind of money into the sport, I believe they should find more success than somebody who doesn't invest that kind of money.
Right.
You know, you're creating job opportunities, you're giving into the sport, you're helping build everything up. Like, you're investing into it. So if you're willing to put that investment in, why should you not find more success than somebody who isn't?
Right.
I agree.
Yep. Truck race. It was Ty Majeski overcame a pit penalty, or not pit penalty, jump in the restart penalty, and made it back up there to win.
Yay, Ty.
Other than that, Heim was mad at Eckes because, I don't know, Heim thought he got pinched. He really didn't. I think once he sees replay, he'll probably apologize. But yeah, that was the truck race. I like short tracks and trucks. I think they need to go
They're
race
great.
more.
Oh yeah.
I mean, back in the day when you ran Bowman Gray and stuff like that, like that was great. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But
somebody on one of the podcasts, I can't remember, said that trucks should just go to short tracks, and I really agree with that. I think it'd be cool.
Almost like a cars tour kind of situation.
I'm okay with them running a couple of mile and a half.
I mean, maybe a couple sprinkled in here and there, but like primarily short tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, give me one or two. Well, no, let's just make it one road course, a bunch of short tracks, mile and a half for two, and gotta have your Daytona, Talladega.
Yeah, sure.
But let's jump into Survivor.
I gotta pull it up. I forget what happened. Where's that? Who did win? Drake won again. 2 for 2. On a roll.
Don't call it a comeback, baby.
Drake won with Blaney, who finished third, and then Andrew had Gilliland, who finished seventh. I was then third with Bowman, who finished 31st. He was looking pretty good, but then he got caught in the wreck that Denny got caught in, which the only consolation is Joe had Denny, and Denny was scored behind Bowman. So
very slightly.
We are good with that. Some more Hendrick bias paying off. I like it. Yeah, so who's up first? That'd be Joe. You're up first. Who you got?
Kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here, but no Gregson.
Joe still has Christopher Bell left, and he's scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Well, that's my one good pick left. I'm going to save that.
Well, I'm going to go with Josh Berry. Been saving him for Richmond, so here we go.
A little SHR off here.
I have Christopher Bell, so I'm going Christopher Bell.
There you go.
Good pick. This is the week I would have picked him out of the ones that are left.
I was looking at my yet to be picks. I'm kind of surprised I have him left, but I guess I've been saving him. So we're gonna go with the whole reigning champion or running champion right now, Kyle Larson.
There you go. On a hot streak.
Austin might come and make a run for it at the end.
I've been saving my picks. This is my last good pick left. Don't tell anybody that, but I've been saving them. We're coming back here. Y'all watch out now. I just need all of y'all to finish last collectively every week.
We all need to finish last.
Everyone needs to get 1 point for the remaining
tie
week.
for last.
Yes, and then I might come back and win.
Okay. Man. What else do we got? So our head-to-heads this week. Joe wins it. He got 3 right with Ross, Gibbs, and Blaney.
Oh, nice. Yes.
And then Zach and I both had Reddick over Elliott, and I had Blaney over Truex. So yeah, we're pretty even, I think, going into it. I'm not sure if I kept track. I'll keep track of it going forward. Oh, kill count. Oof, we didn't finish filling this out. Priest had 3. That was the Byron wreck. Who had the big wreck? Who caused that? Was that Zane? No.
There's one Hocevar did.
That was...
I don't know if you want to blame Hocevar on that or not, but...
Did Corey have one?
Well, the Hocevar one, wasn't that just Truex being dumb?
No, Hocevar split it 3 wide on the restart, and I don't know if he went up or somebody came down, but They were 3 wide going into 1 and catastrophe. Almost got Blaney.
I'd have to go back and watch. I don't remember. And then, the big wreck. I can't remember who the hell that was. Was it 31? It might have been 31. But they're going to get, at least 5? I'll look at it. I'll mention it next time we stream, which is actually a good question. What's our next show?
Ooh,
Olympic break, baby.
Olympic break.
Yep.
Anyone watch the Olympics? Anyone here actually like
God, no.
I
sit down and watch them?
I check
No.
in every now and then. All right, I had a question because we asked this at our church event tonight. If you magically were really great at any sport, which one would you want to win?
Racing.
at the Olympics?
Bobsled.
Oh, in actual Olympics? God, I don't even
And
know.
actual Olympics,
Winter or summer or either.
both, one of each.
I love watching me some bobsled or some
Bobsleds
luge.
are cool.
Yeah, I like the biathlon where you cross.
I watched
ski and shoot
Cool
the
Runnings
gun.
like 100 times as a kid.
Also, I found out.
Gymnastics. I'm
Really?
doing flips and shit.
Yeah, true. I found out tonight that there's a thing called kayak cross where they like drop them. There's 4 guys. They drop them down from like a bridge, and then they can literally. It's kind of like Barrio Kart where like you do laps, but at one point you have to do like a 360 like underwater or something like that, and then they can like fight. They can fight each other with their paddles too. It's sick.
What? That's sick.
I'm gonna find a clip and put it in our Discord, but I'm like, I kind of want to do kayak cross. That sounds awesome.
I think it'd be cool. What's that one where it's like the cross country skiing with the guns?
Biathlon.
Yeah, dude. I feel like
I want to do that.
Biathlon's
That'd be sick.
badass. That's
Yeah.
badass. I feel that'd be cool. But also, I like Winter Olympics better than summer. I mean, I never really watch either. It's more of like, oh, they're on. I'm home after work, whatever. I'll put them on. But yeah, Winter Olympics, I'd take over summer any day. So I'd feel either bobsled, luge, or
The luge.
biathlon.
All right, Justin Haley's getting 6.
Ooh, hit him with it.
And I should say Priest has made his way up to 3rd on our list for the year.
Wow.
So he's closing up very, very quickly, actually. He's been causing wrecks every week. Corey LaJoy had been moving up quite a bit too. But yeah, I still have to go back and look at the host of R1. I don't call it off the top of my head. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, running in the Olympics, just because there's so many things that you could go and win gold.
Yeah,
Like-
obviously, I'm a track guy by profession, so I do enjoy the track and the marathon and stuff.
Yeah, I used to be a runner and now I'm fat. So
Yeah, my knees can't take it like I used to.
oh god, no. Like walking period now.
I've
It's like,
been-
oh, that's a mistake.
I ran 2 miles today. I'm like, my legs are killing me. Ugh.
Good, nice flex, Joe.
Yeah, I ran 2 miles, not to brag.
I ran 2.5, so
Yeah.
I didn't. That's a lie. I made that up.
Yeah. We got anything else, guys? Richmond's next. We'll have a show at some point if there's a schedule release or big news.
Mhm.
Other than that, I think we're done for the night.
Think so?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
like,
Well,
follow,
on that-
subscribe.
Yeah, like, follow, subscribe, comment, questions for the
Twitter.
OnlyFans. We really need some OnlyFans questions. It's been a
Come
while. So
Where's
we got
that
2
link,
weeks
Andrew?
to think about. That's on our website, but you don't even have to go there. You can leave it on YouTube. You can put it in
Twitter DM.
Spotify. Tweet us at the GWC Pod.
Instagram us.
Yeah, Instagram. Join our Discord. We're everywhere. Just ask a question.
Hit us up. Text us. I don't know. My number is
6875309.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yep. But on that
What's
note,
the Soulja Boy one?
Oh.
Anyway, sorry. Continue.
yep. On that note, I'm calling it a night. See ya.
Later.
Bye.
I love you.
Thank you
for listening to this episode of the Green White Checker Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. For more from the boys and the podcast, be sure to follow us on Twitter at the GWC Pod for the podcast, at Biggles TV for Zach, at ShakenDrake_TTV for Austin, at Picks by Fitz for Andrew, and at J_Sully10 for Joe. Head over to thegwcpod.com to submit a question for our OnlyFans segment. Thanks again for listening, and we hope to catch you again next episode.
Football season may be over, but for frequency's sake still has you covered for all your sporting needs. Tune in every Sunday when the best professional wrestling podcast around, Cards Subject to Change, gets you caught up on everything inside the ropes. They won't miss a count with weekly analysis and interviews. More into auto racing? We've got a double dose for you on the track. Tune in to Fast Money with Rod Villagomez each week and win some money with the quickest bets in all of sports. Want more insight from Pit Row? Check out the Green, White, and Checkered podcast where they give their insight on everything happening on and off the track. Need your basketball fix? Points in the Paint has you covered with live shows every other week looking at everything in the association. Backed by popular demand, we have the return of The Payoff Pitch, FFSQC's baseball show, covering you on news around the MLB. If you're missing football, don't fret. Mark and Dan still have you covered in the football lounge. Missing Joe Winkle? Probably not, but he's still here talking sports on Educated Ignorance. Football season might be over, but we've still got you covered. For frequency's sake, you know what we mean.
For Frequency's Sake is brought to you by Durham Remodeling, serving the Quad City area's remodeling and repair needs since 1973. Clint's Draft House, grab a bite and a pint. 7th Street Moline. Lopez, New York-style pizza served up by the slice or pie, Davenport. Lifted Energy, energy drinks, coffee, donuts, and more. #GetLifted. Atomic Sports Cards and Collectibles. Sports cards and memorabilia, vintage clothing, hats, pennants, and more. Ryan Allison Tattoo. Step into the vibrant world of tattoos with Ryan Allison. And A Cut Above, offering quality custom woodwork designed specifically around our customers.